Hello viewers, welcome back to my channel. I am your friend Ishika and we are having touching talk with Professor Yan Suryanarayan sir. So it's our 7th episode of the interview. So let's get started.
Yes, Ishika, we are going to start it wonderfully and have this glass
Thank
and
you.
3 cheers for our successful videographing and your anchoring. So the question you are going to ask me is,
What is one of your hidden talents?
my hidden talent is hidden far deep inside me. That talent is to smile and to experience that smile,
Hmm?
to enjoy that smile and to keep the smile for a very, very long time.
Oh.
It is not an artificial smile. See? It is not painted on my face, but it comes from inside, it is welling up to my lips. And it is an experience. Not the bright teeth show, not the lips show, but the feeling, the intense feeling of joy.
Mhm.
See? And that intense feeling of joy is very important, whether it is in the form of a smile or no smile at all. That is my hidden talent.
Oh, wow. So, what differences do you see in education in 80s or 70s and education now?
Lot of difference. Difference means, in those days, every class was taught.
Hmm?
Yes. Every subject was taught. On all the working days.
Hmm?
See? There are no holidays at all. See? And there are no holidays given to students. Later on, we began to have band,
Hmm?
strike. See?
Huh?
Every week, we used to have one band, one strike. And schools were closed, colleges were closed,
Hmm?
the town was closed.
Oh.
See? Once, very interesting thing is this, Shikha, and to my viewers. Once they said the president's wife was in hospital,
Hmm?
battling with life or death, life or death. So somebody brought the news to the college when we were teaching. And the college was declared holiday that day. President's wife was dead or going to die.
Hmm?
See? But what happened, the president's wife did not die on that day. She did not die on that day. She did not die the second day also. The second day was also closed. College was closed. She died on the third day.
Oh.
See? She died on the third day. She died. So 3 days holidays for the class, college closed.
Hmm.
And the one who died was not his wife.
Hmm?
The news came to us from students, from Ambalogai, and from other people. See? Nobody confirmed the news. On the third or fourth day, we came to know that the woman who had been in the hospital and finally died on the fourth day was not the president's wife. She was somebody's wife, a VIP's wife, but not college president's wife. So many days were lost.
Hmm.
There was this band, that band. Rasta roko, ye roko.
Oh.
See? And see, boys would bring, boys would come with, bring lathis, wooden sticks, come to each class. Sir, band hai aaj. Let students go. Then once I asked the student, that those people,
Hmm?
see, those who were on strike, said, let me finish this lesson,
Hmm?
the last stanza of the poem, and let them go. No, sir, band means band. Everything, schools, all are closed. We won't allow. I said, all right. What can I do? And what will happen, Students who came at 7:30 to attend the class, at 7:45 they had to go back. See? Because 7:45 the college was closed.
Oh.
7:30 the classes began.
Hmm?
At 7:45 the boys came and they shouted, bun, bun, bun. At 7:45 the college was closed.
Oh.
Where would the students go,
Huh?
Shika? And where would the girls go? The girls had come from different parts of the town, even from MSCB township.
Hmm?
It's a long distance.
Ah, yes.
See? And where would they go safely back? It's very difficult.
Ah.
See? So all these things changed.
Hmm?
Then we began to have elections.
Hmm?
Elections for the devil. It worked its wonders. See?
Hmm.
Elections, we were divided.
Hmm?
We were friends,
Hmm?
but on election day, before election day, we were groups.
Hmm.
See? Some belong to that group, some belong to this group. The elections at the college,
Hmm?
So for a month or 2 months, we were doing this election work only.
Hmm?
Yes. And they began to wonder,
Hmm?
this man Suryanarayan, who was he? Whom would he vote?
Hmm?
They wanted to know, is he Lingayat?
Huh?
We don't know. Is he a Maratha? We don't know. Is he Marwadi? We don't know. Is he Gujarati? We don't know. If he is one of these, we can approach him, ask for vote.
Huh?
But we don't know anything. So who is he?
Hmm?
Why said, let us not bother. He is a Madrasi.
Huh?
After one vote, we are going to lose.
Hmm?
You see? So everything became political. No teaching, only politics, elections, winning election.
Oh.
So no classroom teaching at all. So classroom teaching came to almost nil.
Hmm?
A few classes were taught, a few physics classes were taught, chemistry classes were taught, nothing else. Great change.
How many days the elections were there?
See, elections were throughout the day, year in Parli, municipal elections, market committee elections, college elections, school elections. And in those days, even students were student union elections, college student union elections. So many elections were throughout the day. And all were busy electioneering, taking part in elections.
So, your fondest memory in college?
Fondest memories, with friends only, and with students. Not actually anything else, fondest memories. Not the building, not teaching. Suppose, memory of, let me say, tell you something about my first principal. This is going to be a longer description. Have patience, have a sip of our drink.
Ah, yes.
My first principal was S.K. Tekurkar. He came from Ambazogai to Parli. And he was the first principal. My first principal had a cycle. Nobody else, we didn't have cycle. I didn't have cycle. Nobody else had any cycle at all. Only the principal had cycle.
Oh.
And the principal would come to the college before 7:30. Yes. Before even the pune came, they would come to the college and see that nothing bad would happen. Nothing indiscipline would take place. He was very careful.
Oh.
And then he was there until the classes began. Then he would go back, shave, take breakfast and come again.
Oh.
There's one great thing about him, to come first to the college, even before the punes. And second thing, this principal, he took his class first. He taught mathematics. So he taught first. He taught first mathematics. And he told me also, Suryanarayan, I am going to teach mathematics and then you should teach English. So we should begin the class with this. Let nobody come. Let us not bother for anybody. You begin your English at one end of the classrooms and I will begin mathematics at the other end of the classroom. So we should begin.
Oh.
So at the beginning of new year, June 15th, let us say, June 15th, whether students come or not, even if 2-3 students come, you begin English, I begin mathematics. He began. That's how he began the classes. The principal, he taught first. And he taught all his periods. Principal was asked to teach, according to the syllabus given to the principal, 6 periods a week he should teach. And he taught all 6 periods, besides doing his office work. See? He was very good at these things. See? Very good. And very good at singing, bringing all lecturers together once in 15 days and then sing with them. And he was also a drama actor, stage actor. So he acted in 1 or 2 college dramas. He was very good. See? Very good at these things. And he was also a good reader of books. Very good reader of books. He would read books. He would ask us to read books, tell everybody about books. He did so many good things for all of us, for the college itself. So this is the fond memory of a person, who began very well throughout his career as principal of Vajranath College, until he lost that position and went to Aurangabad to live in the university area. There's one thing I always remember, I keep telling people, how the principal should do his work as a teacher and as administrator, 2 things. See?
Sir, my next question to you is that.
Yes, take a deep breath, Ishika. Yes, very good. When you take deep breath, your mood changes, you look more attractive to the viewers. Yes.
So, what attracts you more? Like a movie, money, dance, music?
These things never attracted me. Because I was busy in living my own daily life. See? My daily life itself was very important for me. Not movies. Movies, I never went to any theatre to see. Any theatre in Parli. See? Though I was asked to see a movie or Lakshmi Talkies, I never went there to see. This is another thing I am going to spend some time with you. This movie name is Kurbani. Kurbani, your father would remember. A very romantic film. Jeanat Aman and Khanna. Rajesh Khanna. Another Khanna was there. Kurbani, and famous song also there, that one. So, Kurbani, So that man, Muhammad and Rajiv, Tash Khan, owner of the theatre, he said, "Sir, you come and you watch. I will make special arrangement for me." He liked me very much. See? As I went there, he gave me a nice seat. I sat there. So the theatre, the show began. Then what happened? 2, 3 boys saw me sitting there, And after 15 minutes, 10 boys stood up. Instead of watching the movie, they were watching me. They just turned there, the screen. But one boy got up and told them, "Sir, come on, sir, English, sir." So 5 boys got up. Then another 5 boys, 15 boys, 20 boys got up. You look at me. See? I said, I kept quiet. I didn't know that they were watching me. No. Then, something like interval or something, At interval time, all the boys are outside my door. There's a door outside. From your seats, you go outside. Big door, And I looked just, all the boys were there, only nobody inside. But the next day, there was no talk about the film in the classroom or anywhere. I never mentioned anything. I never even talked about it. They even never talked about it. They looked at me. See? And there were all signs on their face that they had seen me in the theatre. Ishika, I remember this is very well. Kurbani film and the Lakshmi Talkies, very famous film. At the same time, it was run in Latur.
Hmm?
in two places. See? This is one thing I do very well. See?
Hmm. So, since you are a read person,
Yes.
what advice would you give to today's students to be a good reader?
And let me go back to the films, the movies,
Hmm?
and movies, certain movies I liked.
Hmm?
These movies were cowboy movies, are shooting
Huh?
with guns, old English movies, cowboy films, and known as Clint Eastwood movies.
Huh?
I used to watch them, not full movies. I never spent my time wasting on watching the full movie at all, never.
Hmm?
And then you asked me about reading
Hmm.
books. This thing, my personal advice is what I follow, I will tell you
Hmm?
about reading. I think many years ago I began this one, let us say 40, 50 years ago I began this one. I had a plan how to read a book
Hmm?
and how to read. 5 important books are there,
Hmm?
and 5 important books have to be read. If you are going to read one book only, you are going to miss 4 other books.
Huh?
So I had a plan, I would read 10 pages for each book.
Oh.
Total, I would read 50 pages a day.
Hmm?
50 pages a day.
Hmm.
Either from 5 books, newspapers, or magazines, or anything.
Hmm.
Total, I would read
50 pages.
50 pages a day I should read. And that I continued for a very long time. Even today also I do that one.
Oh.
Sometimes it is not possible. It is never possible to read 50 pages a day.
Hmm?
How I divided, I would read 1 or 2 poems, short poems, long poems,
Huh?
from Shakespeare and the other thing. Then I would read a short story, half a short story or something like that.
Hmm?
Then, so you saw, Macbeth or Othello, I read 10 pages from that one.
Oh.
And you see the Upanishads or something, I read 10 pages of it. So total, I try to read 50 pages, but I fall short of this one. Sometimes I read 10 pages only sometimes, not more than that day.
Huh?
Or 20 pages, sometimes 30 pages, sometimes 40 pages, but never 50 pages. But even today I am very happy, that I have been able to read so many pages a day. And I also go through the pages of the dictionary because I get some doubts. I read what that word is, all about that word, all of these things I read. And nowadays we got this app,
Huh?
and then there is a speaking dictionary I got in my cell phone also. The dictionary will speak.
Hmm.
By itself you have to just speak. So this is what I advise, you have smartphone in your hand.
Hmm?
The best thing is to use a smartphone. I don't advise you to read Hamlet or other things to your generation. But how are you going to use a smartphone?
Hmm?
You can use a summary.
Huh?
Yes. There are some apps and there are some sites where in 3 sentences the summary is given, 6 sentences summary is given,
Huh?
half paragraph summary is given.
Hmm.
The latest poems, yesterday's poems, yesterday's poems, evening poems,
Huh?
all these things are easily available. And the word, meaning, everything, grammar, function is all in the app.
Oh.
You should never say, I don't know these things, I am not able to do this, I am not able to find it. If you are not able to find it, you throw your cell phone into the garbage. Really. It gives you everything you give. Or you come to me, I will tell you how to use a cell phone.
No.
See? So I advise you to use your smartphone smartly. Ishika, use your smartphone smartly. Everything it has got. Whatever you want, your pronunciation, new words, new poems, everything wonderful. So I don't advise you to read big books which you see here, all these big books. No, I don't advise you to read. Unless you belong to my generation.
Hmm?
I like to hold a book. See, like this I want to hold a book. I like to very much. I just fall asleep.
Huh?
No, I belong to the generation of reading a hard copy
Hmm?
and hold the book like this, read 5-10 pages, keep a marker here, keep it down and keep it back here, come back and read it. That's my generation. For your generation, the book is there in your cell phone.
Ah, yes.
Not the same book, what it contains is in your cell phone.
Hmm.
Yes. And when I was sitting in Vajinal College,
Hmm?
my favorite place was the library.
Oh.
I was not in the staff room at all.
Hmm?
I never spent any time in staff room. I was always in the library and I sat in the corner of the library,
Hmm?
always sitting there and reading.
Oh.
And here I have to tell one very humorous incident.
Hmm?
So I would sit in my chair and read the newspaper, the old newspapers.
Hmm?
I read. Always I was in the same chair reading some newspaper. And one day, my friend came and he thought, that I was reading newspaper there.
Huh?
And he wanted to play a prank, a joke. So what he did, he pulled the newspaper down. And behind the newspaper was the principal. I was not there on that day. Principal was sitting there and he was reading that one. He was, so much confused. He didn't know what to do. Sorry sir, it doesn't matter. Sorry, somewhere else. But the library was the place and I would meet students there in the library, and then I would ask them to come inside. They were not allowed.
Hmm?
I said to ask the librarian, I said, let us go to English section
Hmm?
and then show them the books. Say, these are the books
Hmm?
and these are the books you should see, read. And then I used to give them also these books,
Hmm?
borrowed on my name and given to them. See?
Hmm?
And they never returned these books.
Hmm?
I gave my student, when he was studying Hamlet with me.
Hmm?
See? I gave that book to him. And then he didn't return the book. He took it to his sister's house in the village.
Hmm?
And he left it in the village itself.
Hmm?
In this way, I lost so many books.
Oh.
And then when I retired, the librarian gave me a long list, bill, outstanding things.
Huh?
4,000 rupees I paid.
Oh.
He would have given me free of cost. I would have given him 500 rupees or something. He would have given me it. It's a 4,000 rupees and I paid. But the books which I gave to my students,
Hmm?
to make them understand certain things, simpler books, easier books,
Hmm?
to understand subjects easily, And library, library I like very much. The area of the library, the books.
Hmm?
And I knew not only those books, English books, next to the sociology books I liked, political science, and a little book of science also. If science was very plain for me to understand.
Oh.
And I bought books, easy for the student to understand, English books for them, and newspapers, magazines. I read so many things, library books. See?
And so, I want to ask one question to you,
Yes.
and I'm really very curious to hear the answer. So, the question is, what does Eric Suryan mean?
Yes. Eric Suryan, it is not a name chosen by me,
Hmm?
a fancy name or something like that, attractive name.
Huh?
I went to a school known as Don Bosco School.
Hmm?
The school was run by Spanish missionaries from Spain, and they couldn't pronounce my long name, Surya Narayan,
Huh?
because Surya Narayan is a very long name. When they pronounced
Huh?
it became submarine. There is no submarine. Surya Narayan, they would not pronounce anything. Or something like Superman.
Huh?
I mean, Surya Narayan they could pronounce. So what they did,
Hmm?
they make it Suryan. Suryan is a short name for Surya Narayan.
Uh-huh.
See? And Eric they added, Eric is a very common name for them, very easy. So to call me, Eric, come here.
Mm-hmm.
Because South Indians are very long names.
Mm-hmm.
Sivaramakrishnan, Lakshman Sivaramakrishnan, is a long name. So they shortened the names by calling Sam, means Sivaramakrishnan, like that, no? To communication with other people, to call somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So in that way I was called Eric, and then Eric Suryan. So my name appears in three forms, Suryanarayan, Suri, Suryan.
Mm-hmm.
These are short forms. Suryan and Surya short forms, Suryanarayan. Suri is also a Punjabi name. See? So when my son is called Sachin Suri, he is not a Punjabi. Suri is a South Indian name, but people think it's a Punjabi name. That's how I got the names Eric Suryan.
So now we are living in age of internet, where anybody can get any information.
Yes.
When internet was not widely used, you had encyclopedia in
Yes.
your home
Yes,
library.
yes,
How that helped you and your students?
yes. So when internet was actually making its entry into your country, the encyclopedias, when the old-fashioned encyclopedias, they are almost became free. Nobody bought them. Encyclopedias printed 10 years before, 20 years before. See? That was not the latest information in them. So, my wife's sister gave me some 24 volumes of encyclopedia. See? And I used to go through them because they contained pictures also. I had to teach a poem like Daffodils. See? Or show the students the difference between the hill, mountain, see, like that. There is no chance at all in the textbook. Textbook had no picture at all of daffodils or lilies, some flowers. So I found these things in the encyclopedia. How the lilies look, what is the color, and what is the botanical name, how they grow, where they grow, the daffodils. So they helped me a lot. And when students came, I asked them just sit in the drawing room and go through this encyclopedia. Oh, I used to open the encyclopedia to the correct page and to the correct paragraph and show you, see, read this one. I helped them a lot. Like that. So they were very important. Now you don't have to. You have got this smartphone. See? But it's very useful. Hard copies or hardbound copies, big books, But what about much contains, much is in the newspapers, much is in magazines, which are monthly magazines, fortnightly magazines, weekly magazines are also. See, and they are also very useful for our reading. They are beautiful, In one page you get the entire global view. What's happening in Ukraine? What is our economy? What is the conflict between two states? On one page, the editor gives or the writer gives, analysis he gives. See? It's very good to read those things. So, India Today, Weekly, and Outlook, these magazines are very good. And one thing, Ishika and my readers, don't think that old magazines are old. No. Last month magazine has got enough for us. See? Even last year magazine also has enough information for us. See? Yesterday's newspaper also has got enough information for us. We are learners.
Yes.
We are always learners only. And learning is a beautiful experience. So I used to buy Reader's Digest, old Reader's Digest. Yes, Reader's Digest is very costly. But Hyderabad, on the roadside, they used to sell for 10 rupees each copy, 5 rupees each copy. 20 years old Reader's Digest. I would read that one. Read them. See? And then the newspaper like Hindu, which you see in my house, that I read. How I read this Hindu, Hindu I used to read it right from my childhood, First, I glance or scan the paper. That means I read all headlines. It is also not possible, to read all the headlines. Some are important headlines, some are not important headlines. I read them, then I select them, what I should read. This is usually done in the morning itself. But the reading begins at 4 o'clock every day. 4 to 5 I read. 4 to 5 I read what I have selected to read in detail. See? So that's how I plan to read newspaper, English newspapers. So everybody should have, but reading newspapers is very important. National newspaper you should read. And reading English newspaper is very good for us. Something like taking an extra vitamin, is good for us. A newspaper, it improves our spelling, it improves our English, it improves our knowledge of current affairs, what is happening in the country everywhere. It's a very important thing, that newspaper reading. And old newspaper is not old, it is new for us. You read Marathi, and never neglect Marathi newspaper. I never advise like that. Marathi newspaper, you should know Marathi newspaper and what it contains, what it tells you. So standard Marathi newspaper and any English newspaper later on. You should read. Very important thing is that.